There is a power available to you, one that can transform your life, sharpen your purpose, and guide you with divine wisdom. But this power doesn't come by chance. It requires intentional pursuit. Today, I'll show you the steps to deepen your connection, to hear more clearly, and to walk in alignment with the greatest source of wisdom. There is a power within you, one so profound, so life-changing, that when you tap into it, everything shifts. Your mind becomes clearer, your decisions sharper, and your purpose undeniable. But the question is, how do you unlock this power? How do you move from where you are to where you were meant to be? Most people live their entire lives unaware of the greatness inside them. They chase success, they chase fulfillment, they chase peace, but they look in the wrong places. They seek external solutions for an internal problem. The power they need is not outside of them, it's within them, but it takes awareness, it takes discipline, and it takes alignment to activate it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like there's more for you, like you're meant for something greater, but you can't seem to grasp it? That's not a coincidence. That's a call to go deeper, a call to awaken, a call to align yourself with the presence that's already waiting for you. But here's the truth. Power doesn't respond to passivity. You don't stumble into it. You don't accidentally discover it. You have to be intentional. You have to desire it. You have to pursue it. And when you do, something incredible happens. Your life begins to shift. Your mind, your emotions, your actions, they start aligning with something greater than yourself. This is why some people move with clarity while others wander in confusion. Some walk in peace while others wrestle with chaos. Some hear direction clearly while others struggle with uncertainty. The difference? One has tapped into the source, the other is disconnected. So let me ask you, which one are you? If you want to unlock this power, if you want to walk in a level of wisdom and strength you've never experienced before, you have to take action. You have to create an environment where this presence can thrive in your life. You have to be willing to remove distractions, to silence the noise, to make room for something greater. But don't miss this. This is not about just having moments of clarity, moments of peace, moments of power. This is about living in it, dwelling in it, walking in it every single day. Because when you do, your life won't just change, it will transform. So the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to shift from passivity to pursuit? Are you ready to unlock the power that has been waiting for you all along? And if you are, then the next step is critical, because once you awaken to this power, you have to learn how to hear it. You have to know how to recognize its voice, how to distinguish it from the noise, how to follow it with confidence, and that is what we're going to dive into next. Have you ever been in a room full of noise, but there was one voice you were trying to hear? Maybe it was someone calling your name, maybe it was an important message, but the distractions were so loud you could barely make it out. That's exactly how life works. There's a voice calling you, leading you, guiding you, but the question is, can you hear it? So many people walk through life feeling lost, uncertain. They say, I don't know what to do next. I don't know which path to take. I don't know if I'm making the right decisions. But let me tell you something. That's not because direction isn't available. It's because they haven't tuned in to the right frequency. You see, the greatest challenge is not that the voice isn't speaking, is that we are too distracted to recognize it. We have so much noise, so many opinions, so many influences, so many thoughts pulling us in different directions that we can't distinguish what is true from what is just distraction. But here's the key. Once you learn to hear the voice, once you recognize it, everything changes. Your steps become clearer. Your decisions become stronger. Your confidence grows. Why? Because you're no longer moving based on emotions, assumptions, or guesswork. You're moving with precision. So how do you hear it? How do you separate the voice of wisdom from the noise of confusion? You have to make space. You have to quiet the distractions. You have to create an environment where that voice is the lowest one in your life. Because here's the truth. Whatever you listen to the most, if negativity is the loudest voice in your life, you will live in fear. If doubt is the loudest, you will always hesitate. If confusion is the loudest, you will always second guess yourself. But when you make room for clarity, for wisdom, for guidance, your life takes a new direction. The reason some people move with confidence and others live in uncertainty is because one has learned to recognize the voice while the other is still wrestling with the noise. But let me tell you something. Once you hear it, once you truly recognize it, you will never question it again. And this is where everything shifts. Because hearing is one thing, but the next step is even more important. Once you hear the voice, you have to learn how to follow it. Because direction without action leads nowhere. Instruction without obedience changes nothing. So what happens when you start recognizing the voice, but life starts pulling you in another direction? What do you do when the voice tells you to step forward, but fear tells you to step back? How do you develop the courage to follow the guidance you receive? That's what we're going to uncover next. There is a fire inside you, a power waiting to be ignited, but here's the reality. Fire doesn't start on its own. It needs something to ignite it. It needs the right conditions. It needs fuel. And if you don't ignite it, if you don't fuel it, that fire will never burn the way it was meant to. So many people feel like they're living on empty. They say, I feel disconnected. I don't feel the passion I once had. I don't feel the same drive, the same energy, the same fire I used to. And do you know why? Because fire requires fuel. You can't expect to stay ignited if you're not feeding the flame. Let me ask you something. What are you fueling your life with? Are you feeding yourself with things that build you up or things that drain you? Are you surrounded by people who inspire you or people who pull you down? Are you feeding your mind with wisdom or are you drowning in distractions? Because here's the truth. Whatever you feed will grow, and whatever you starve will die. If you feed your passion, it will grow stronger. If you fuel your purpose, it will become clearer. But if you neglect it, if you starve it, if you let distractions consume you, eventually the fire will fade. And here's where so many people go wrong. They think they can stay on fire without effort. They think they can stay connected without discipline. They think passion and purpose will just stay alive on their own. But let me tell you something. Fire doesn't maintain itself. You either fuel it or you lose it. This is why some people are on fire for their purpose, while others are just going through the motions. It's not because one is more capable than the other. It's because one made a decision to stay ignited, while the other let life drain their fire. So the question is, how do you stay ignited? How do you keep the fire burning when life gets hard? How do you stay fueled when everything around you is trying to pull you down? It starts with what you allow in your life. If you want to stay ignited, you have to be intentional about what fuels you. You have to remove what weakens you. You have to eliminate distractions, cut off negativity, and protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. But here's the next challenge. Once you ignite the fire, once you fuel your passion, once you feel that power inside of you growing, what do you do with it? How do you make sure it doesn't just burn for a moment, but for a lifetime? Because fire isn't just meant to burn, it's meant to illuminate, it's meant to spread, it's meant to transform everything around it. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into. Have you ever tried to walk against a strong wind? You're pushing forward, but something invisible is resisting you. You take a step, but the force against you makes it harder. That's what happens when your life is out of alignment. You're trying to move forward, but something is pulling you back. You're trying to grow, but something is resisting you. And until you align yourself with the right direction, you will always feel like you're fighting against something you can't even see. So many people struggle, not because they lack potential, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they are out of alignment. They are pushing in one direction while their purpose is pulling in another. They are making decisions that go against where they are supposed to be. They are trying to force doors open that were never meant for them. And as long as you are out of alignment, progress will always feel like a struggle. But here's the truth. When you get into alignment, everything changes. The struggle stops, the confusion lifts, the resistance fades, and suddenly things begin to flow. Opportunities open up. Direction becomes clear. You stop chasing and start attracting what was meant for you. And do you know why? Because alignment creates ease. Think about a car. If the wheels are out of alignment, the ride is rough. It pulls in the wrong direction. It takes more effort to keep it on the right path. But when you align it, the ride becomes smooth. It moves the way it was designed to move. And the same is true for your life. When you are in alignment, life doesn't feel like a constant struggle. You don't feel like you're always swimming against the current. You move with purpose. You move with clarity. You move with power. So, how do you know if you're out of alignment? It's simple. Look at the patterns in your life. Are you constantly fighting battles you were never meant to fight? Are you exhausted? Not because you're working hard, but because you're working in the wrong direction? Do you feel stuck even though you're constantly moving? That's a sign that something is off. And when something is off, you don't ignore it. You don't just keep pushing forward blindly. You pause. You realign. You adjust. Because if you don't, you'll keep going in circles. And you'll keep wondering why things aren't working. But when you finally align yourself, when your actions match your purpose, when your mindset matches your vision, when your habits match your destiny, that's when you start to see transformation. That's when you stop struggling and start soaring. And now that you understand alignment, there's something even more powerful you need to learn. Because once you're in alignment, once the path is clear, once the resistance is gone, you need to remove the hidden blocks that are still holding you back. And that is what we're going to uncover next. Have you ever been in a place so dark that you couldn't see your own hand in front of you? You know you're there, you know there's a way forward, but you can't see it. That's what happens when your spirit is dull, when your awareness is low, when your sensitivity is weak. The guidance is there, the direction is clear, but you can't perceive it. There is a level of clarity, a level of wisdom, a level of power that comes when your spirit is sharp, when your senses are tuned in, when your awareness is high. Some people walk through life making blind decisions, taking uncertain steps, hoping things work out, but others, they move with precision. They see what others can't see. They hear what others ignore. And the difference is not luck. It's sensitivity. Sensitivity is what separates those who wander from those who walk with confidence. It's what makes the difference between a person who struggles with confusion and a person who moves with certainty. Because when your spirit is sensitive, you don't just react to life, you respond with wisdom. But here's where most people go wrong. They expect to have clarity while drowning in distractions. They want wisdom but fill their minds with noise. They want direction but refuse to make room for it. And let me tell you something. You cannot be sensitive to the right things if you are consumed by the wrong things. Have you ever tried tuning in to a radio station but all you hear is static? You know there's a clear signal. You know the station is broadcasting, but you can't hear it properly because something is interfering. That's exactly what happens in life. You were meant to hear, to see, to perceive, but interference is blocking your reception. And do you know what that interference is? Distractions, negative influences, wasted time, unhealthy conversations, everything that weakens your awareness and dulls your senses. And if you don't remove the interference, if you don't tune in, you keep missing what's being sent to you. But when you become sensitive, when you sharpen your awareness, when you clear out the distractions, when you heighten your perception, you start to see opportunities that others overlook. You start to recognize answers that were always there. You start to hear what was always being spoken to you. And that's when your life begins to change. Because when you become sensitive, you don't just react to circumstances, you move with insight. You don't just guess your next step, you know it. You don't just hope for clarity, you walk in it. But once your spirit is sharp, once your awareness is high, there's something else you must do. Because it's not enough to just be sensitive. You need to remove what's blocking your progress. You need to eliminate the invisible barriers that are holding you back. And that is exactly what we're going to dive into next. Have you ever tried to run with heavy weights strapped to your legs? You push forward, but every step feels slow, every move feels restricted, and no matter how much effort you put in, you just can't reach your full speed. That's exactly what happens when you carry invisible burdens in your life. You were meant to move freely, to grow, to advance, but something is holding you back. You see, many people are not stuck because they lack ability, intelligence, or opportunity. They are stuck because they are carrying things they were never meant to carry. Fear, doubt, toxic relationships, past failures, negative mindsets. These are weak. And as long as you hold on to them, you will never move at the speed you were designed to move. Let me ask you a question. What are you still carrying that is slowing you down? What thoughts, what habits, what emotions have been keeping you trapped in this same cycle for years? Because until you identify what's weighing you down, you won't be able to break free from it. Some people are dragging the weight of past mistakes. They keep replaying their failures, convincing themselves that they will never rise above them. But let me tell you something. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. You were never meant to stay bound to what happened before. If you keep looking backward, you will never move forward. Others are held back by fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what people will think. And that fear keeps them paralyzed. They hesitate, they second guess, they wait for the perfect time. And in the process, they miss their moment. Fear is a weight, and if you don't drop it, it will keep controlling your every decision. Then there are those who are stuck because of toxic connections. They're surrounded by people who drain them instead of build them. People who speak doubt instead of encouragement. People who pull them back instead of push them forward. And as long as you are attached to the wrong people, you will never reach the right destination. But here's the truth. You have the power to release the weight. You don't have to stay bound by your past. You don't have to live under the control of fear. You don't have to keep toxic relationships in your life. The moment you decide to let go is the moment you become free to move forward. And when you drop the weight, everything changes. Your mind becomes clearer, your energy returns, your confidence grows, and suddenly you start to move at a pace you never imagined before. Because when you're not carrying unnecessary burdens, you can finally run your race the way you were meant to. But there's one more thing you must understand. Dropping the weight is just the beginning. Because once you are free to move, you must learn how to move with proper. You must develop the discipline to stay on course, to maintain momentum, and to never drift off track. And that is exactly what we're going to explore next. Have you ever seen a river that started strong but then disappeared into the ground? It had momentum, it had force, it had a clear direction, but somewhere along the way it lost its flow. That's what happens when you don't have discipline. You start strong, you feel the fire, you feel the passion, but without discipline, you lose momentum. You drift, you slow down. You get distracted. Many people experience moments of clarity, moments of breakthrough, moments of inspiration, but they don't last. Not because they aren't real, not because they don't have the ability, but because they don't have the discipline to maintain it. They get excited for a season, they take action for a while, but then something happens. Life gets busy, distractions creep in, the initial fire starts to fade, and before they know it, they're back where they started. This is why discipline is critical. It's not just about starting strong, it's about staying on course. It's about training yourself to remain consistent even when the excitement fades, even when challenges arise, even when you don't feel like it. Think about an athlete. They don't win because they had a good day of training. They win because they made discipline a lifestyle. They show up even when they don't feel like it. They push through even when it's uncomfortable. They stay focused even when distractions try to pull them away. And that's exactly how you must train yourself. Because let me tell you something, your destiny is not built in moments of excitement. It's built in the habits you create daily. The small decisions, the little choices, the quiet disciplines that no one sees. That's where greatness is formed. That's where consistency is built. That's where transformation happens. So let me ask you, what habits are shaping your life right now? Are they pushing you forward or pulling you back? Are they making you stronger or weaker? Are they aligning you with your purpose or leading you away from it? Because whether you realize it or not, your daily habits are building something. And if you don't take control of them, they will take control of you. Some people live their lives reacting to whatever happens. They wake up with no direction, no plan, no discipline, just moving wherever life pushes them. But people who fulfill their purpose don't live like that. They structure their time, they guard their focus, they establish routines that keep them sharp, strong, and grounded. And when you live with discipline, something powerful happens. You stop being controlled by emotions. You stop being swayed by circumstances. You stop waiting for motivation because you have trained yourself to move forward no matter what. You don't just rely on moments of inspiration. You become a person of habitual success. But discipline alone is not enough, Because once you develop discipline, once you train yourself to stay on course, there is something even greater that you must unlock, something that takes your life to a whole new level. And that is exactly what we're going to uncover next. Have you ever watched a bird take flight? It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't second guess itself. It doesn't flap its wings once and then stop to see if it's working. No. It commits to the motion, it spreads its wings, and it keeps moving until it catches the wind that lifts it higher. And that's exactly what happens when you step into total surrender. So many people struggle not because they don't have potential, not because they don't have the tools, but because they are still holding back. They're still trying to control everything, still trying to plan every step, still trying to figure it all out before they move. But here's the truth. You will never experience the fullness of what's possible for your life until you completely let go of your fear. Let go of your doubts. Let go of the need to always have all the answers before you take a step. Because sometimes the next level of your life is waiting on you to simply release what's been keeping you stuck. Have you ever tried to drive a car while pressing the brake and the gas at the same time? The engine is working. The power is there, but you're not moving. And that's what happens when you live with hesitation, when you hold on to old mindsets, when you refuse to step fully into what you were meant to become. You are pressing forward, but something in you is still holding back. This is why surrender is powerful. It's not about losing control. It's about letting go of everything that's been controlling you. It's about releasing the need to figure it all out, releasing the weight of uncertainty, releasing the fear of what if, and trusting the process. Some people spend years stuck in the same place, not because they don't have an open door, but because they are too afraid to walk through it. They want clarity before they move. They want certainty before they commit. But let me tell you something. Sometimes the clarity only comes after you take the step. Surrender is about trusting that if you take the first step, the path will reveal itself. It's about knowing that when you fully commit, when you stop hesitating, when you throw yourself completely into what you were created to do, you will find strength, wisdom, and direction that you never knew you had. And when you surrender, everything shifts. The weight of uncertainty is lifted. The fear of the unknown loses its power. The struggle of trying to do everything by yourself disappears. And suddenly you feel lighter, stronger, more pursued than ever before. But surrender is not the final step. Because once you let go, once you step into the flow of your purpose, once you move with confidence, there is one more thing you must do to seal your transformation. And that is exactly what we're going to unlock next. Have you ever seen a tree standing tall in the middle of a storm? The wind is howling, the rain is pouring, the ground is shaking, but the tree remains unshaken, unmoved, rooted. Why? Because its foundation is deep. Its roots go far beneath the surface, anchoring it so that no matter how fierce the storm, it does not fall. And that is exactly what happens when you establish a solid foundation in your life. Many people start strong, they feel the fire, they experience breakthroughs, but when challenges come, when resistance shows up, when life gets difficult, they start to waver. Not because they weren't passionate, not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't have a foundation that could sustain them. You see, a strong foundation is what separates those who rise from those who fall. It's what keeps you standing when life tries to knock you down. It's what gives you stability when everything around you is uncertain, because storms will come, challenges will arise, obstacles will show up, and if your foundation is weak, you will be shaken. But if your foundation is strong, you will not just survive the storm, you will thrive in the midst of it. So let me ask you, what is your foundation built on? Is it built on emotions? Because emotions change. Is it built on people's opinions? Because people's opinions shift. Is it built on circumstances? Because circumstances are never guaranteed. If your foundation is built on things that can change, then you will always be unstable. But when your foundation is built on something unshakable, when it's built on purpose, when it's built on conviction, when it's built on an unbreakable sense of identity, nothing can move you. You may bend, you may face challenges, you may go through struggles, but you will never break. A house with a weak foundation may look beautiful on the outside, but the moment a storm comes, cracks begin to form. And if the foundation is not strong enough, that house will collapse. The same is true for life. If you don't take time to build deep, if you don't strengthen your core, if you don't secure your foundation, then sooner or later, pressure will reveal the cracks. But when your foundation is strong, when your character is firm, when your values are unshakable, when your purpose is clear, nothing can stop you. You won't be moved by fear. You won't be controlled by circumstances. You won't be shaken by the opinions of others, because you are built to last. And when you have a solid foundation, something powerful happens. You don't just stand strong for yourself. You become a source of strength for others. People will look at you and wonder, how are they still standing? How are they still thriving? How are they still moving forward? And the answer will be simple: because your foundation is strong. But there's one last thing you need. Because even with a strong foundation, even with all the preparation, there is still one final key that will determine your ability to sustain everything you've built. And that is exactly what we're going to uncover next. Have you ever seen a fire that starts strong but fades away because no one tended to it? At first, the flames burn bright, the heat is intense, the energy is powerful. But over time, if no one adds fuel, if no one stokes the fire, it begins to die. And that's exactly what happens when you don't protect what you've built. It's one thing to grow, to evolve, to step into your purpose, but it's another thing to sustain it. Too many people start strong, but don't finish well. They experience breakthroughs, they elevate to new levels, they walk in power, but because they don't guard what they've received, they begin to lose it. And before they know it, the fire that once burned so brightly becomes nothing more than dying embers. The truth is, anything valuable must be protected. Your vision must be protected. Your energy must be protected. Your mindset must be protected. Because if you are not intentional about guarding what you've built, distractions will creep in. Doubt will try to settle in. Fear will attempt to weaken your confidence. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself right back where you started. So let me ask you, what are you allowing into your space? What voices are you listening to? What influences are shaping your decisions? Because the wrong environment can kill your fire faster than anything else. If you surround yourself with negativity, if you entertain toxic thoughts, if you expose yourself to distractions that weaken your focus, you are putting everything you've worked for at risk. A gardener doesn't just plant seeds and walk away. They water, they nurture, they remove weeds that try to choke out growth. Because if they don't, the garden will not survive. The same applies to your life. You must be intentional about nurturing your growth, about reinforcing your foundation, about staying sharp so that nothing pulls you away from your destiny. The moment you reach new levels, new challenges will come. The moment you step into your calling, opposition will rise. The moment you start making an impact, distractions will try to break your focus. But if you have learned to guard what you've built, to protect your mind, to stay disciplined, you will not be shaken. And when you guard what you've built, something incredible happens. You don't just sustain your growth, you expand it. You don't just hold on to success, you multiply it. And before you know it, you're not just walking in your purpose, you're inspiring others to step into theirs. You were never meant to live an average life. You were designed for something greater. But the difference between those who fulfill their purpose and those who don't is the decision to protect what has been given to them. So my question for you today is simple. Will you guard the fire or will you let it fade? Will you stand firm or will you let distractions pull you away? The choice is yours. But remember this, your destiny is too great to leave unprotected.